vehicle requirements. So all vehicles will be scrutineered on race day prior to being allowed on the course. And again, the words are to ensure they're safe. Right? So that's really, and that they comply with the rules. For anybody who wants, we do also, at our workshop, we're going to open up on the Saturday or Sunday prior. I think it's Saturday prior. And you can come and pre-scrutiny, you know, so if you've got a question, you go, I don't know what's going to happen, you know, I've got an idea, I've built it, will they pass it, just come in and we'll check it, you know, so that way you can be ready on the day, and if for some reason we've got an issue with it, then you've got a week to fix it, you know, to make sure that it's all good.
Is that on the 14th?
Oh, Sunday 15th.
Oh.
It says on here. I don't know, I thought the thing you put up the other day said Saturday the 14th.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it is Saturday.
I think it's the Saturday. Yeah, so we might just need to tweak that in the PDF. Alright, so it's got to be unpowered. Gravity is your only source of power. So no battery packs, no little electric motors, no petrol motors, no pedals to drive it, none of that sort of stuff. So unpowered, it's just got to roll, right? It needs to have steering. So here's the answer to your question before. Vehicles must have steering, very helpful. Rope steering is accepted. Maximum pivot of 22.5 degrees. So only in that scenario are you limited by that 22.5 degrees.
In that scenario.
Only in the T
So if you had a
rope
single
style.
wheel at the front, you can spin it around.
You might want to change that just to specify like 45 total.
Yeah, I think there is a diagram in there. But, yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I think we need to do a little tweak on these anyway, so we might do that 45 degree total or something, that's fine, it's an easy one.
What about steering with your feet? So like if it's like a T, classic T, and you're just pushing with your feet on the is that allowed?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's cool.
Is the track one direction turn?
No.
So you're going to turn left and right?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there one that's side that's steeper than the other at a turn?
We will find out.
Okay.
Yes, there's
If it's 45 degree max,
there's
a left hand bias, then you might be able to
Put
tweak
it, 5 degrees that way. I like that. I'm going to have trouble. Vehicles must have a minimum of 3 wheels. So you can have 17 if you like. It'd probably be slow. So every wheel that you put on adds a bit of drag. To a point, they add stability though, you know, so if you think about a 4-wheel cart versus a 3-wheel cart, the 4-wheel one's going to have a little bit more stability, less likely to tip over. But after 4, you don't really get more stable.
You can have 3, like one at the back, 2 at the front steering. Yep.
So there's no rule in this which says you couldn't have 3 in a row.
Yeah, there's no rule that says you can't have 2 in a row and then 2 little.
Correct, yeah. So I mean there's a number of little tweaks on that, you know, 3 in a row would be really hard to balance. I'd love to see somebody try it. They're not going to make it far, but it'd be, you know, great footage. You know, so that's a good idea with 2 and 2 little ones. You know, so you think about 2 like a bike, and then 2 little ones. You know, so long as they're playing a role, so you can't just.
Would there be a constraint on how much give they have? Like, so if they hold you up when you're sitting upright, but then when you're turning, you're able to get much more lean.
So they can't be just for looks. You know, so they need to be touching the road.
Yeah, so you need to be stable with your feet up when you're at the starting line.
Yep.
So is there like an angle on how much lean?
Yeah, that's what
Sort of basically none.
No.
So if you think about it, so in saying that, I can imagine ways that you design around it.
Yeah.
But if you think about, there's your road, and a standard bike, imagine that you've got, how do we do it as best to do this? Yeah. So you're looking straight at your bike, there's the axles or there's the wheel at the front. You could, in theory, put a bracket off there and a little trainer wheel, a bracket and a trainer wheel, so you attach your trainer wheels to your bike. That's compliant in terms of that rule, because you've got your two main wheels and you've got two small wheels. But these do need to be, if not touching, effectively touching, right? So you couldn't set those wheels, you couldn't do this, right?
No unicycle.
Not compliant, right? So, because that would enable you to do an awesome lean, right? Which would be advantageous. But it would also mean you can basically get down the track without using them. So they're not really wheels of the vehicle in all use. Now, however, in saying all that, you know, I was thinking that there's a couple of motorbikes, I don't know where you've seen them, they're actually like, there's a three-wheeler bike, but there's also a two-wheeler bike. They have two wheels really close together, and so as they lean, both tyres still attach to the road all the time. So that the bit that they sit on leans, but the tyres are straight. So in theory, yes, you can still lean as long as your tyres are touching. But it would be very hard to build. I don't know how to build it.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Is there a height constraint on this configuration?
No, I don't believe there's any height. No height.
So if you did have, like you had it before with the training wheel configuration, and you lean and that one comes up, does that disqualify you?
I think by the nature of one coming up, it means that it wasn't touching the ground.
So if they were just touching
Yeah.
the ground when you're sitting at because your weight is holding it against the track, but when you go to lean, it puts more force on your wheel and it lifts this one slightly.
I think-
Because you're not going to disqualify someone for coming around quick and then back to
That would be okay.
That's a three-wheeler.
It turns it into a three-wheeler.
Yeah, three-wheeler. So,
On a hard turn,
so you're still
yeah.
good, right? Yeah, I think that would be reasonable. Yeah, I don't think there'd be an issue with that. Yeah,
Are you allowed to have braking on the front wheels?
absolutely.
Probably better.
Yeah. More brakes than that.
Because then you can put it on the steering.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. Next on things, vehicles must have a brake mechanism that will allow the cart to finish the course safely. So this has been written with a lot of judgment in it, right? And this is where I'll talk about what testing we're going to apply. So last year it was a pretty basic test, static rolling test, wasn't very steep, etc., etc. We probably do need to have a bit of a rethink about what test we use here, and it might be that, you know, with somebody sitting in the cart, we give it a quick little push and then make sure it actually the braking does retard, does slow down the vehicle, you know. So it's a little bit more than a static test. That's what I'm guessing we'll end up with this year. But again, it's really in those words, it's got to allow the cart to finish the course safely, you know. So if we deem that the braking system is just not working and it doesn't allow you to finish the course safely, then that gives us the right to go, we need to sort something out. You know, it's not good enough. You know, and we'll try and help you, right? We want people to go down the course. We want people to have fun. That's really the goal. We don't want any major injuries. No sharp edges. So this rule's in place because there's a couple of carts going down at the same time, right? So there's the potential for collisions, and there's rules around, you know, you're not meant to. It's not bumper driver. You're not trying to bash people off the course, right? But what we also don't want is a razor sharp, you know, front foil that would take somebody's kneecaps off, right? You know, so we're really trying to avoid anything like this. So at this pass, right, you know, is that sharp? Oh, not really, you know. It's not, I mean, yes, you know, if somebody runs into you doing 20 k's an hour and hits you in the shin, it's going to hurt, right? But it's not going to cause massive injuries. So we're really, basically the way we test this one is we run our hand around and go, is there anything sharp that people get caught on? You know, there's little sharp corners there, they're not too bad. Some people have, you know, like sheet metal, and if there's any sharp bits sticking out from sheet metal, we do have to be much more careful about that, because if you catch even a slight impact with that can cause a bit of damage. So. So really, I mean, that's the way we manage that one. We just go around, we're looking for anything sharp that you could actually collide with and cause a bit of injury to. Yeah, man.
If we had like a little James Bond sprocket on the side, would that be disallowed?
A which?
Like, you know how his car has the spikes on the outside of it? Would that be allowed?
Let me read that rule again. No sharp edges exposed. So, it's really about, is it going to hurt? You can make it out of something soft, because it's about the look, right? You're not.
You could do it.
It's about look, right? You're not really going to try and hurt someone.
I'm going to hide them.
And no oil slicks out the back.
Red shells. Bananas.
Throw banana peel in the Mario Kart. So it could come down to the material, right? So if you made it out of steel, I'd probably go no. But if you can find like a softer material, even if it was, if it's just about look, you can make it out of cardboard and have it sitting there. And you know what? I pass that because it might look sharp, but if you run into something, it's going to bust straight off. You're not going to cause an injury to somebody because of it. So again, it's about being sensible about those rules. Maybe it's made out of rubber or egg cartons, or maybe. But even if you start going down the I'll make it out of paper mache, then I'm going, well, it's starting to have a bit of structure. I'd have to have more of a think about it.
I reckon make it out of whatever you want. Just make it so it can screw on and off.
Yeah.
So you can do it for the photos.
Yeah.
And then unscrew it and race the race.
Yeah. And the other thing we'll take into account is the likelihood of, by its position, is it likely to cause somebody an issue? So if there's a really sharp bit just there on the back of the seat, that's okay. We're not going to ping you on that. But if there's a really sharp bit poking out there, we're going to look at that much more seriously, right? So sort of that sensible thing. Must be a foot first driving position. Still do bikes foot first. There's a few that are sort of foot first. So the way we would measure that is, honestly, I'd look at it and go, in the static position, are both feet in front of the head. So you could always be upright, head. I'm imagining if so long as your feet were in front of your head, that way forward, I'd pass it, right? It does make it a little tricky, I know. But, because we had a few people last year who were wanting to, basically lie down head first on their carts, right? So that was one of the design theories that came out. That was no, can't do that. So it's really, the rule's more about preventing that style of design, so we don't want people going head first into something. We prefer them to hurt their foot before they hurt their head.
Is there any rule around visibility? So if they wanted to go down like a street luge, that's fine?
Totally fine.
Okay. You can make a mirror
Totally
system
fine.
set up or something?
Yeah, like a really confusing mirror system, so you're not sure what
Then
you're
there's a
doing.
shot.
No rule around that. Couple of dimensions. Maximum width is 1100 mil. So that is from the widest part. So in this cart would be from there to there, 1.1 metres. Cool.
What you gotta bring off is it?
Maximum length is 2.2 metres. So that is, you go from the furthest bit at the back of the cart, which is probably the back of the tyre there, to the furthest part of the front, which would be there, needs to be less than 2.2 metres. Maximum weight without driver.
Hey, John.
Maximum weight without driver, 50 kilo without driver. So this is a really interesting one, right? So, and we'll talk about this after the walk, but if you think about going fast down a hill in a straight line, the weight's really advantageous. The more mass you've got, the more speed you can pick up. Right?
And distance.
And distance, yeah.
Oh, so it's not just the drag, it's like the more weight, the faster you'll go.
In general, the weight will give you a better advantage over the drag, yeah, that's right.
Okay.
But that's in a straight line. if you want to slow down for a corner, you've got to slow all that weight down.
Yeah.
So it's the opposite. When you come to slowing down or going around corners, the lighter you are, the better. So again, I haven't done the course walk yet, so that'll be interesting to see. You know, so you're going to have a bit of a choice. You know, how heavy do I want this to be? Do I want a cart that goes like a rocket ship in a straight line but can't slow down and go around corners? Or do I want something that's pretty light and maybe it's not as fast in a straight line, but it goes around corners really well and it can slow down? You know, so that's. I don't know what the answer is going to be this year. It's going to be a really interesting one from that perspective. And then the maximum wheel diameter, which you talked about before, 500mm rim to rim. So that's on the actual rim of the wheel itself. So that's it for the design in terms of the design guidelines. So what I thought we should do next is it's a good time to go for a bit of a walk. And Ariel will probably run most of that in terms of talking through, here's the corners, here's what we're imagining. And then we can come back here and just have a bit of a chat through, you know, hey, I've got a question, I've got an idea, I've got a thought, how would this work, how would that work, you know, that sort of stuff. Cool. Is there any, on that initial part, any sort of outstanding questions or queries or what the heck's?
My wheel has a little sprocket on the edge, which would be on the outside. So could I put that up with like